Hey everybody, welcome to the Canary Cry News Talk live stream pre-stream. You're here early and we're very proud of you. Man, oh man, you'll hear more about it during the show, but the technical difficulties have been out of this world. So excuse us again for being late. We had such I don't know, man, such plans to be on time today. Well, many of you might know there's a Windows update yesterday, and it completely destroyed everything. And not only was it destroyed, but now that we even have it going, there's some hilarious quirks to what we got going on in the studios today, and you're gonna love it. It's fun. Here's a little hint. Gonz sounds like a troll, just forever. And not to you guys, but just to me. I alone am one individual in the world trying to do a podcast that my co-host sounds like a troll, thanks to Bill Gates and the Windows updates. Okay, well, we're going to get the show started here in just a second. You guys know the drill. Head on over to CanaryCry.Party. That's right. It's the URL, http://CanaryCry.Party. You'll find all the links you need to catch the show and all the different platforms that we stream on, as well as lots of great resources and links to get connected to the community. So go to CanaryCry.Party, sign up for the newsletter. Those of you who are signed up for the newsletter, not only do you get the sources before every single show, but I went ahead and stuck the art in there for you. That's right. You got the art for the show directly in your email box. So you can have it to share, have it to look at, all sorts of good stuff. Okie dokie. Well, that's about it. We're going to get started right now.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy. You are listening to Canary Cry News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. Today is June 8th, 2022, and we are live to tape, baby, on episode 494. And today, so SADS. That's right. Signing on from Off the Grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy, Basil.
And my name is Gonz, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, a.k.a. the Cabana Boy, here to serve you a podcast that brings you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. Straight out of California, 3 hours late from planned airtime, but here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And folks, you might not notice this. We'll talk about it further later on in the show. But we are late today. We had such good plans to start on time. But we're glad you're here. We're here, and of course, you podcast listeners, you get to listen whenever you want. So that's awesome. And just know, we'll explain this later. Just know that the Lord has blessed you with not having my voice and or Gonz's voice pitch shifted to sound like a troll, which is exactly what I hear right now when Gonz speaks. But we'll talk more about that later, folks. I want to give you a little bit of a rundown about what to expect for today's show. That's right. In our lead segment, we're going to be talking about some 666 Illuminati going on over there in India. Ukraine update. A 15-year-old is the new hero of Ukraine. And, of course, Russia putting out some more scary propaganda on the ground where the nuclear apocalypse, what to expect. FLIPPY is going to be stopping by. We'll be checking in on the social engineering in regards to robot arms. Of course, we've got a number of stories on gun control, many updates there that should be of interest to anybody who, believes that the Constitution is a good way to, a good framework for how to run a country. We're going to be checking in with the beast system, Apple's new updates to biometrics, the World Bank's warnings about stagflation, etc., etc. And then, of course, once we say goodbye to the YouTube audience, got some updates on COVID and some new cancer treatments that may be of interest. And then when we're having fun at the end of the show, of course, NASA is launching some priority plans to investigate the mysteries of the moon. And Antarctica, another awesome update, some signaling from the elites going on there. So stick around. But first, we're going to start out with some lead stories.
660.
So last episode fell on June 6th of 2002. I pointed out how, that's 666 if you add up the 2022. And we weren't the only ones signaling. Actually, we didn't signal, really. I just pointed it out. But, yeah, it says here in IndiaTimes.com, Mahesh Bhatt and Yo-Yo Honey Singh announce web series Illuminati. And it has a 666 connection. I mean,
no way.
Yeah, it's a web series called Illuminati from India. Hang on one second.
Okay. Oh, we've got Cody again in the World
Cody,
Eater.
I'm yelling at my daughter. They're all laying around, and there's a drum kit over there. I mean, it's just a disaster, but it's okay because
you have a drum kit. You have a toddler and a drum kit in the same room.
Yes,
you're trying to record a podcast.
Yeah,
these are the type. Some problems in life, folks, are handed to us by forces outside of our control. But, the best problems are the ones we create ourselves.
Yeah, it's right when we go live is when the kid starts hitting the drums and the dog starts clawing at your leg. And it's good times.
How could they resist?
So IndiaTimes.com.
Okay, tell us about Illuminati.
Yeah, it says here, the number 666 is considered to be the number of the beast in Christian eschatology. It is said to represent a diabolical number and is often represented as the sum of all evil. 666 has been used in many different ways throughout history. In Christianity, 666 is often associated with Satan or the Antichrist due to biblical references that state he will have this number on his head or forehead when he comes to power. It's not exactly what the Bible says, but, it's India Times, so I'm not going to really hold them, too hard. But
nice
nevertheless, Mahesh Bhatt and Yo-Yo Honey Singh do not believe... Oh, I just lost my spot. These browsers. Yeah, okay. But nevertheless...
Do not believe in this.
Mahesh Bhatt and Yo-Yo Honey Singh do not believe in this and have purposely chosen 6 p.m. time and 6/6/2022 as the date of the announcement for their upcoming project titled Illuminati. The timing of the Illuminati announcement was deliberate. The show's creators hope to capture the moment. They hope to capture the moment, Basil. It's a ritual, you see. And you watch this trailer. I'll play it for the people watching, I guess. It's really not that interesting. It's 33 seconds long, the trailer. And it looks like a low budget Fiverr job. It's got the makers of the thing and then just a couple texts that's an all-seeing eye. It's not that great. I continue on with the article.
All kind of done in the style. It's kind of a mix of style between the artwork, the flourishes that you find on the dollar bill, the green sort of floral things, but of course you've got lots of symbology, the eye of providence, things like that.
When asked about their vision, Rajdeep Meyer stated, quote, Illuminati web series is an emotion for us. We strongly believe and have faith in the subject and its narrative. They believe and have faith in the subject and its narrative. There has been a lot of curiosity over the years, and it's high time people should know the real side of it. Who better than Yo-Yo Honey Singh? That's when I told my partner Vinay, and today we have been able to finally get it to announce with the right association. I think there's a little bit lost in translation there, but
there's a little bit there.
Yeah. He went on to say 6:66 p.m. is the chosen time to announce the series in 2022 and hoping it will clear the air and the truth shall unravel. Yo-Yo Honey Singh is loved worldwide. They're already creating intrigue. And then this last part here. Illuminati is a phenomenon that people have misconstrued and misunderstood always. This is still a quote. And I genuinely feel the wrong perception of the cult needs to be put forth in the right perspective. Who better than the man himself, Yo-Yo Honey Singh? I don't know. They really love this Yo-Yo Honey Singh guy.
Yeah, apparently he's a very popular fella.
About this all-seeing eye of providence. But yeah, I just find it interesting that... In India, I don't know. And there's a picture of, I believe it's these, the gentleman producing the show, and one of them is holding a thumbs up, and the other guy with the chains is doing the 2-hand triangle, touching the thumb and the index finger. The
50 cent, triangle thingy.
Yeah, so
Beyonce did it too. Yeah, it sounds like that they're trying to do like a pro-Illuminati narrative.
Like
the Illuminati are the good guys.
Right. They need to set things right. And who better than Yo-Yo Singh Ma, or what was his name?
Yo-Yo Honey Singh.
Yo-Yo Honey Singh, yeah.
Who is this guy? Do you know who he is?
I don't know. He's Yo-Yo Honey Singh.
Okay. All right. We should look into who this is. I'm assuming that he's some sort of, Bollywood famous person.
There's a little bio about him down here if you want to get into it. Hold on. Where was it?
Well, I'm just curious. They're making such a big deal about this guy.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I thought there was more.
Yeah, I'm pulling up his Wikipedia here. So, yes. Let's see here. Hardesh Singh, born whenever. Known professionally as Yo-Yo Honey Singh or simply Honey Singh, is an Indian music producer, composer, rapper, pop singer, lyricist, and a film actor. He started out in 2003 as a session recording artist and became Bhangra and hip-hop music producer. Later, he became successful with his own songs and started making songs for Bollywood films. Yeah, so he's like a famous Bollywood musician guy.
There you go.
And his image over here on Wikipedia, he's doing the OK sign, the 666 hand signal, right there on his Wikipedia picture. So
there you go.
Yeah, seems like he's a total pro-Illuminati fella.
Yeah. Well, they got to set things right, which is interesting when it comes to rituals, transparency, letting everybody know what the deal is. It's been pretty public already if you look at mainstream entertainment in general, but I guess we're going to have a little bit more official doctrine, I guess, laid out for the masses. So
yeah, when does it? Do we know when it airs? Is this something that we'll be able to view?
That's the funny thing. This is an announcement of an announcement, kind of. They're announcing a show on 666.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's great. When is the show? We don't know. It's just we're announcing the show exists.
666 is the chosen time to announce the series in 2022, and hoping it will clear the air and the truth shall unravel.
Yeah, nothing about when it'll air, just about how it's going to peddle truth to the masses.
The process of the unraveling of the truth began, last show day, I guess, Monday. All right, well, good.
There you go.
Just keep an eye out, folks. This was apparently important enough to put at the top of the show, so make sure to keep your eyes open.
It's date related, and of course, there's a show called Illuminati announcing their existence on 666, and it's timely.
Well, speaking of which, let's check in on Ukraine.
Fight for Ukraine. New world order.
Drone strikes have saved lives.
Can we shoot them down if over our property?
Drones.
Among the stories we've been having recently, folks, about the U.S. sending over missile systems, rocket systems, et cetera, there's also been talk about sending Reaper drones, which we've talked about, which can be equipped with Hellfire missiles. And so drones are a big topic of conversation as far as Ukraine goes. But, not everybody's quite sold yet. So we got to get some propaganda in there to get everybody on board. And this is coming from metro.co.uk, which just has quite the extravagant Pride Month logo change here. Okay. And the headline is "Schoolboy nicknamed Hero of Ukraine held off Russian tanks using a toy drone. Ooh, okay. We've got another hero of Ukraine. Of course, part of the narrative, the propaganda narrative that's been going on throughout the conflict, are these sort of folklore hero sort of fairy tales that have been propping up. You know, we had the ghost of Kyiv, and there's some grandma who got some fame for being a war hero. But now we got a kid with a toy drone. A 15-year-old boy who flies drones as a hobby helped to prevent Russian soldiers from overrunning Kyiv. Andriy Pokrasa has revealed his role. He's revealed his role in the defense of the capital after being hailed a real hero, a hero of Ukraine by the military. Despite soldiers trying to track the position of a column of troops and tanks heading for the capital, did not have access to a drone in the early days of the invasion, his father got in touch with local defenders to tell them his son was skilled at flying one, had bought his own as a pastime, and might be able to help. Not long after, the schoolboy, more used to skateboarding than military reconnaissance, helped direct strikes against the convoy. The teenager told Global News, quote, "They provided us information where approximately the Russian column would be. Quote, our goal was to find the exact coordinates and provide the coordinates to the soldiers." Quote continues, "It was one of the biggest columns that was moving on the Zaitomir Road, and we managed to find it because one of the trucks turned on its lights for a long time." Okay, Ukrainian soldiers targeted the column and were eventually able to stop the march on Kyiv altogether. Commercially available drones have become a core part of the Ukrainian military strategy, as well as more advanced models developed by arms manufacturers. And it goes on. There's an interesting commentary here. Taras Troyak, a former retailer, founded a Facebook group to coordinate drone owners in Ukraine who wanted to turn their hobby into a surveillance tool for the army. He told the Canadian outlet, quote, "If we didn't have such operators and drones who could help the Ukrainian army, I think Kyiv could be occupied by Russian forces. The Ukrainian army has relied heavily on the Turkish-made Bayraktar TB2 drone, buying dozens in the build-up to the conflict. They have been central," and it goes on to those Turkish drones there. So I find this fascinating because much like the conversation with the long-range rocket systems that have really just put the whole world on edge, pushing Putin into a defensive position, again, threatening nuclear war if these rockets were targeting Russian territory. And then, of course, Steve mentioned, yeah, we are going to shoot it at Russian territory. What are you going to do? But these drones, handing over full-scale military drones, has been in the works and I'm sure will happen, which would give Ukraine just a massive advantage over their current situation. But I feel like this talk of, hey, even a 15-year-old with a drone possibly saved Kyiv altogether. Think of what we could do with some real military drones. This idea that a child was sort of conscripted into military, a 15-year-old conscripted into military service, speaks volumes as to, their Ukraine's willingness to sort of fold anybody into their military that's willing to do so, which has been a strategy from the beginning. Remember, our first aid packages of weapons literally just dropped crates of guns on the street, and people were anybody could walk up and take a gun to help defend Ukraine, which, how could that possibly backfire in the future? That's going to be fine. But now the sort of narrative building that even a child, we need the drones because even a child armed with a drone saved the entire city, is just a beautiful piece of narrative crafting to further justify sending over offensive warfare weapons, basically to fight our proxy war with Russia there. So that'll turn out nice, don't you think?
Well, remember General Milley's talk that we covered a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
This sort of speaks to that urban warfare. Just anybody can tactically use the technology to benefit a particular group or region or whatever. I think you're right. It justifies all that stuff, but it's always interesting when you're creating heroes out of younger people. I'm always sort of interested and curious.
The world loves that. It's very inspiring. And more than anything, it's inspiring to the whole generation of young people.
Right.
If you have an example of,
Greta.
This 15-year-old well, good point. Yeah, Greta being a great example of that. And this being a sort of a different style than Greta, not so much just sort of an eco-warrior, but an actual military participation by a 15-year-old.
It's like a movie.
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely is. And in the context of Ukraine, which is, putting civilians to work in battle, basically, on a daily basis to defend their country, this is very inspiring to a whole generation of teenagers now who, teen boys, they're not the hardest group to convince to go join the army.
Go to military things.
No, it's a dream come true.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being a 15-year-old who, maybe you're kind of lonely, don't have a lot of friends, so you get into drones and suddenly you're a hero?
No, this is the kind of daydreaming that I would do at age 14, 15, just having some kind of larger purpose come to, just happens to be put in front of you and you come through and you're a hero. And yeah, of course.
And in the context of, the following years and decade of Ukraine, which may, this conflict may go on for a decade. It's very possible.
Easily, yeah.
This kid may be grafted in as, you could become the Ukraine's general of autonomous drone warfare.
Yeah, he can be the guy who controls all the large hive of drones, killer drones,
Yes.
He's like, look, he's so responsible. He helped save Ukraine once. He'll do it again. Give him the mind control chip with the drone hives. Yeah.
That's right. Put him in his little pod and let him, control the whole swarm.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's just very, fun. If I was that 15-year-old, I could see that being very fun, but also on the meta narrative, the propaganda of the war and the use of drones and the, again, further military industrial complex intertwining itself within the conflict. This is going to be very useful and overall problematic for U.S. taxpayers.
Yeah. All right. Well, close by here, we got one from Ukraine. We're gonna do one from Russia.
Russia. You don't know what you're looking at.
What's driving that thing? It's not a space alien.
Aliens. It's unidentified.
Yeah, you thought Ukraine hanging out with drones is advanced in sci-fi. You got nothing on Russia. This is Newsweek. Headline: Russian state TV warns of nuclear war that only mutants will survive.
Oh, okay, cool.
And I saw the video here. It's all in Russian, so it's not really worth playing. But the article itself does a decent job of summarizing. So here, yes, right, yes.
Oh, we got a baby. We got a baby on the show. Newsweek. Russian state TV warns of nuclear war that only mutants will survive. Russian state TV personality Vladimir Solovyov has warned that if NATO keeps supporting Ukraine in President Vladimir Putin's war, there will be a, quote, massive nuclear strike that will see only mutants survive. The Kremlin and senior Russian officials have said Russia will not use nuclear weapons in Ukraine, even as rhetoric around their possible use has been growing. Okay, so we already know this. We know that they've said they don't want to use it in Ukraine, but they have warned against using them on decision-making centers in the West. So cool. Solovyov who has close ties with Putin and has been called Putin's voice, was speaking on Russia One and was referring to individual member states of NATO sending weapons to Ukraine amid the ongoing war. Since Putin launched what he calls a, quote, special military operation in Ukraine on February 24th, individual NATO countries have sent weapons to Kyiv, including high-tech arms, anti-aircraft, anti-tank weapons, as well as medical supplies and equipment. The military alliance as a whole, however, has not sent troops or weapons to the war-torn country. That's interesting. The military alliance as a whole. Seems like a very specific distinction they're making, saying, the individual countries such as the UK and the US have sent weapons, but NATO as a cohesive alliance has not done the sending of the weapons or the troops. However, there was the NATO Defense Corps that was activated for the first time.
Yeah.
I guess that was stationed in Poland, if I remember correctly. I might be a little off on my geography there, but I don't believe that was actually sent into the country. Yeah. Solovyov said that the world is,
can I take it from here?
Yeah, can I finish this one part?
Yeah.
Descending into bloody pages of world history, that part?
Well, all of it. Go ahead, just do it. Do it.
No. Go.
Do it. No, you're doing it. No. You do it now. Go do it. Do it. Read it.
We're falling apart, people. He said, quote, if everything keeps progressing the way it is, only a couple of mutants in Lake Baikal will survive. The rest will be destroyed in a massive nuclear strike. Lake Baikal is an enormous lake and one of the world's deepest, located in the mountainous Russian region of Siberia, north of the Mongolian border. Quote, everything is moving in that direction, regardless of what either side wants, Solovyov added.
Okay.
Quote, because if...
just before you go on here, because we need to talk about Lake Baikal. Do you know anything about...
Are they saying that they're... No, but but it's in Russia, right? Are they saying they're going to nuke Russia? Or are they afraid we're going to nuke Russia?
Somebody's going to nuke Russia, and the only people or things that are going to survive are mutants, and specifically Lake Baikal, because Lake Baikal...
in a very specific
lake Baikal has a UFO lore, and it's not just lore, it's actually declassified information.
July 2009. The Russian government declassifies top-secret documents detailing USO encounters with the Russian Navy. Stunning first-hand accounts of extraterrestrial encounters shock the Russian people and ignite interest from the world's UFO research community. At a depth of approximately 260 meters, crew aboard a fully weaponized Russian nuclear submarine detect 6 unknown objects on their sonar.
This is in Lake Baikal. This event took place in Lake Baikal.
They got a sub in the lake.
Yes.
That's cool.
Traveling in formation directly towards them. What's even more alarming is the speed at which the objects are traveling. In excess of 265 miles per hour.
The captain, fearing that a collision was imminent and that he was under attack, ordered an emergency surfacing of the submarine.
The submarine finally breaches the surface, narrowly avoiding a collision. But what happens next is even more astonishing.
So here's the Soviet submarine commander dealing with this terrifying situation. They then saw through the periscope these 6 objects come out of the water and take off at some absurdly fast speed.
Researchers believe what the Russians encountered was a squadron of underwater extraterrestrial spacecraft.
There you go. That's what's going on there. So I think the people in Russia know what the reference is. Which again,
it'd be kind of like referencing like Area 51 or something.
Right. But in the context of declassified information that happened in Russia, now we are having our own sort of UFO disclosure through the government in the last few years. I guess we're behind on some of the disclosure stuff, but it's just interesting how this is all starting to connect. You know, at a certain point, all of the governments and all the drama surrounding the world stage ties back into weird stuff. You know, it's all the weird stuff.
UFOs.
Yeah, UFOs.
Yeah, so
aliens.
so when he's saying mutants in Lake Baikal, you think he's referring to aliens? Or, I mean, I guess maybe they just consider weird stuff happening at Lake Baikal, and because it's so deep or something, they'd be protected from the nuclear strike.
Yeah, something like that.
Whatever. I mean, whatever he's saying, it's crazy.
It's weird. Right?
Yeah,
you can finish out the article. There's a couple more quotes here.
It goes on. Yeah, the quote goes, because if NATO, this is the same guy. So this is kind of like, I don't know, they call him the voice of Putin, or Putin's voice. He's kind of a TV personality, newsman. Yeah. The quote continues, because if NATO decides they can place whatever they want at our borders, they'll be sending more and more of American weapons to Ukraine. Ukraine will fire and end up hitting one of our nuclear power plants, and here we go. Solovyov said the process then will, quote, quickly become uncontrollable. Everyone will get, yike-doodles, hold on. Everyone will get more than they asked for, bang, and there's nothing left, he warned. Interesting. So he's not even talking about dropping nuclear weapons or a nuclear war. He's almost directly referring to the American rocket system.
Yeah, and Ukraine firing stuff right into their power plants.
Yeah, into Russia. Yeah, to a rocket into a nuclear power plant, and then boom, only the mutants will survive. The mutants
crawl out, and Putin's dream comes true. Whole army of mutants.
That is some pretty heavy, like, mainstream media scare tactics in Russia. I mean, voice of Putin, I think he's more of a newsman than like an official guy. I was going to say he could maybe be compared to like Jen Psaki or something, but I don't think he has an official government position. So I don't know. Maybe he's like a Tucker Carlson or something. Who would be the voice of Biden? Maybe old CNN, not new CNN, but old CNN. Yeah, just being like, we're all gonna die. They're gonna shoot our nuclear power plants, and only mutants are gonna survive. And then, this is interesting because it is Newsweek. So we're not talking about RT or something. This is not a known sort of Russian propaganda outlet. But listen to what it goes into now. In April, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg chaired a meeting of allied foreign ministers in Brussels and told reporters afterwards that there was a clear message that allies, quote, should do more and are ready to do more to provide more equipment, and they realize and recognize the urgency. The Kremlin has ruled out using nuclear weapons in Ukraine. Russian Foreign Ministry Deputy Spokesman Alexei Zaitsev was cited by state news agency TASS last month as saying that Russia had no intention of using nuclear arms in the Ukraine war. Quote, the scenarios of our potential use of nuclear weapons are clearly prescribed in Russian doctrinal documents, Zaitsev said, quote, Russia firmly abides by the principle that there can be no victors in a nuclear war. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov have also said that Russia will not use nuclear weapons in Ukraine. Newsweek reached out to Russia's foreign minister.
Will they use it on themselves and say it was the Ukrainian/NATO?
Yeah, I mean, where's all the false flag talk,
That's kind of what this is all setting up for. It doesn't matter who shoots it as long as things go boom and you got mutants. Who cares who did it?
Oh, it's interesting that Newsweek, really, the reporting is like, hey, Russia is afraid that Ukraine will hit one of their nuclear power plants, set off a nuclear chain reaction, and kill everybody. But also, Russia very specifically said they're not going to use nukes. Right. So there you go. Take them at their word, folks. They're not going to use nukes. Look, they've said it so many times. So if there is a nuclear explosion, either in Ukraine or in Russia. That's not Russia's fault. I don't know. It's very, very weird messaging going on here.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. And then plus the connection to the lake that had an official Russian military encounter with unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Very fun.
Very
fun.
Interesting. Keeping an eye on all
right.
that.
Well, indeed. We should have our own encounter with a Wednesday jingle or two.
Okay.
Hey guys, know what date it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for the Canary Cry News Talk. Yeehaw!
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday. It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is Wednesday, folks. And my goodness, was today an unfortunate day, Gonz. We were trying to get started. So much earlier. But yesterday, did a little Windows update against my better instincts.
Bill
against
Gates knocked on your door. Said, ding, ding.
I got a
new package for you.
Little drone showed up, was dropped off a little box with a skull and crossbones on it and said, here's a Windows update, sir. You should probably do this. I knew better. I knew I shouldn't do it. I don't know why I did it. And I did it, and it blew up everything.
It's Wednesday, my dudes.
Oh, whoa. Why is it doing
Wednesday.
audio? It's not supposed to do
that
audio.
One? That's a new one.
It's the GIF version, or the GIF version, whatever you want to call it.
That's fun.
Yeah.
And so the first thing that we noticed when we logged on here, Gonz, was that my voice was pitch shifted down. I sounded like some sort of funky singer or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, some sort of monster.
I captured a piece of Basil testing his mic, and this is how he was coming through.
Check 1, check 2. I've got a tiny little voice.
Yeah, so that was weird.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming this had something to do with, I mean, the only option is that it had to do with the Windows update and maybe like a driver mismatch or something with my interface, some of my sound equipment. And that was annoying. And I spent a lot of time trying to fix that. Have no idea, And then suddenly, Gonz, who had sounded completely normal the whole day, I did one little thing, and then suddenly Gonz's voice was in troll mode. I think we have a little clip of that, too.
My name is Gonzo.
Yeah, so suddenly that's what I started to hear on my side.
And by the way, you were coming in perfectly fine at that point. So so fine, I'm like, oh hey, you fixed it. You sound good, and you were disturbed.
Somehow it traded, right? Yeah, like the troll voice came off of me and went on to you for some reason. And, I tried doing so many other things. Took like over an hour just to try to get things, to get things to a working, I don't know, a state of something better than a troll voice. And then the whole thing stopped working. It was a complete disaster. Finally, by the grace of God, I got it back working. I sound normal, but I just want everybody to know, through this entire show, even now, and I'm assuming till the end of the episode, I still am hearing Gonz in the weird troll voice. Hey. So my experience of this episode is doing a podcast with a troll co-host.
Where are the Infinity Stones?
Yeah, you sound exactly like Thanos. So it's a weird day. It's a weird day for me. I will say my brain is kind of starting to get used to it. But I think we did find out that my jingle board is still pitched down for some reason.
Yeah, your jingle board.
Should I play something for you?
Sure, give it a go.
Let's see, here's this.
Stop.
Barely audible.
Did you hear that?
It's very quiet. It is low.
Too low.
Yeah.
Here, let me try this one. No, still low, huh? Oh, well. Well, just know, folks, everything's pitched down. It's a complete disaster here. But, Gonz, what's up with you, besides having a toddler and a drum set in the studio today?
Well, it's always been there. It's just they're discovering each other, which is both good and bad. There's not a whole... Well, you know what? I did update some of the NFT stuff. There's one more thing I need to figure out to get Sir Captain Redbeard his NFT, and then I think we're off to the races with the squad droppers. You guys will be getting your directions on how to set up probably a MetaMask wallet and get your Ethereum address, and we can start sending out those NFTs. It'll be fun.
Yeah, I don't think you've announced it before, but Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the Demoochers, has been... He's your guinea pig.
He's my guinea pig, yeah.
Okay. So there you go. Canary Cry NFTs in the works, folks. Sorry, it's been a little delayed, but that's fun. Speaking of which, we've got some executive producers to thank, Gonz.
Executive producers.
That's right. We're on the value for value model. You know it. You love it. It keeps the corporate money and the corporate interests out of your independent news, media analysis, and deconstruction. And people who produce the show, that's you, dear listener, you listeners who realize that the value of this show can only be kept alive if producers put value back in, and that can come in different ways. Your time, your talent, or your treasure is an easy way to remember it. And those producers, financially, who come in to help carry the load when others can't, you're like Samwise Gamgee, is that Sam? And I imagine the executive producers, they're kind of like Sam carrying Frodo up the volcano because Frodo doesn't have the will to live.
By the way,
whatever.
Just because you brought up Lord of the Rings,
derailing my derail. I love this.
Yeah. Just to say that I was thinking about it the other day. If Trump runs again in 2024, it'll be kind of like the Lord of the Rings, Gandalf the White kind of thing. I can see that him changing up the color.
He's been fighting the Balrog for 4 years, and then he comes back as Gandalf the White.
He should come out with a beard.
He won't be Trump the Orange. He'll be Trump the, I don't know, green. Will he change his...
hey, if he's green, his lizard skin? Really, he'll be right on theme.
Yeah,
sorry for the derail.
Yeah, it's a good one. Let's re-rail here, folks. Well, we're going to re-rail to our executive producers being Samwise Gamgee carrying Frodo up the volcano during a time of financial instability, and then we'll re-rail back to thanking some executive producers. Are you ready to hear their names, Gonzo?
Yes, let's do it.
We got a nice little handful today. Starting out with executive producer Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the Demoochers.
There it is. Boom.
There he is. He's here. Thank you, sir. That's right. We also have executive producer Maureen M.
Ooh, thank you, Maureen M. Good to see you.
We got executive producer Morv, who is celebrating. He's a big celebration today. We'll talk more about that.
Yeah, triple digits.
And we've also got executive producer Sir James, Knight and Servant of the Lion of Judah.
Wow, we got a lot today.
Yeah. Nice little handful. I appreciate that very much. Yeah, 4 executive producers. And we'll be thanking more of them later on in the show, reading some notes, et cetera. But until then, folks, make sure to keep the execs in your prayers and thank them for, taking such a big, generous leap into keeping this show going.
Yep.
Where'd you find this?
That's right. And Gonz, we also couldn't do this show without our best buddy Flippy.
Flippy update.
Do you want fries with that?
That's right, folks. It's the Flippy update. If you don't know, let me teach you something. Flippy is our colloquial name for the disembodied robot arms that are taking our jobs, enslaving our children, and flirting with our spouses. We use talking about Flippy as a way to explore all the new, fun, and exciting ways that robots are taking over the world and how there's nothing we can do about it. One of our favorite things to do during the Flippy update is not only admire our new robot overlords and their bendy arms, but also explore how the social engineering aspect of Flippy, the robotic arm, is being used to normalize, to incentivize, to motivate the public as a whole to welcome our new robot overlords into our lives and hopefully, in the end, hand over all responsibilities to them. This is one of those days. This is coming from WeGotThisCovered.com. They're sort of a pop culture outlet here. And the headline, "In a world of robot arms, Marvel fans endeavor to determine the best."
Whoa, is this an arm wrestling situation or what's going on?
Robot arms in the Marvel universe. In a world of robot arms, Marvel fans endeavor to determine the best. A unique debate has not that unique. We got this covered. Look at this. They think that just because somebody's talking about robot arms, that it's so unique and novel and quirky. Come on now. A unique debate has materialized on Reddit with fans pondering which Marvel film character has the coolest mechanical arm. Although it's likely something you've never thought about, the franchise is full of robot arms. Can you believe the gall of We Got This Covered? I mean, honestly, folks, we've been focusing on robot arms specifically for at least, we're going on 6-7 years now. It's all we think about. I go to bed, I close my eyes, I just see robot arms dancing around. It is the most important thing in the world to me. And WeGotThisCovered.com just coming out with truly insensitive, bigoted speech about, oh, nobody thinks about robot arms. Who cares? It's such a silly thing. No. Although it's likely something you've never thought about, the franchise is full of robot arms. We got this covered.com. Redditor Super Alloy Berserker picked 6 of them, which belong to Winter Soldier with the Wakanda upgrade, Cable, Misty Knight, Ulysses Clow, and Cull Obsidian, and asked others to choose which one they liked the most. I have not heard of half of these characters. More than that, I've literally only heard of Winter Soldier. No idea who Cable, Misty Knight, Ulysses Clow, and Cull Obsidian are.
Isn't Cable a villain? I thought Cable was a villain.
Perhaps. I don't know. He's got a robot arm, so they're all villains, really. Even Winter Soldier was a villain at first. That Soviet super soldier man. But yeah, indeed, there are a lot of robotic arms in the Marvel universe. And we've poked at Marvel. I mean, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is sort of the pop culture epicenter of social engineering when it comes to so many different aspects. I mean, of course, a lot of the social justice topics are introduced and pondered throughout the Avengers series. We've also got their new move, the Marvel sort of, what do they call it? The What If series, which is a cartoon series.
With the Watchers or the Watcher narrating the whole thing?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't watched it. But the whole premise of What If is, what if Thor was a girl? What if Spider-Man was black? What if, it's just a way
wasn't Thor an alligator in one of the ones with one of the characters? I forget which one.
Yes.
Right? The one with the horns and the green and the...
Loki.
Loki. Yeah.
Yeah, good series. But yeah, so Marvel has always been at the center of the sort of social engineering aspect of pop culture, even down to Xing Shui or whatever, the Chinese one. The basically the whole movie is about how, China would have become an enlightened utopia if it wasn't for Western influence. completely backed and approved by the CCP. But that's Marvel for you. And so the idea that Marvel has been pushing this idea of robotic arms being, integral to our heroes is not nothing. It's certainly a powerful aspect of the social engineering. And they have the Reddit thread here, of which, of course, there's lots of delightful nerds giving their thoughts on who has the best robotic arm. I don't think there's any comments really worth reading, except for I did find this one. So if you're a Marvel person, if you're not a Marvel person, there's the Winter Soldier, who is like a Russian super soldier guy who was, former friends with Captain America, and he's the villain in the first movie that he appears in. But then they work out their differences, and the Winter Soldier joins the Avengers. And his one quality is he has one robotic arm that was given to him by the Russians. And somehow that gets destroyed, and he gets shipped off to Wakanda. And in Wakanda, if you remember, that is the sort of Afro-futuristic utopia where they have all the best technology. It's even better than Tony Stark's technology. The Wakandans build the Winter Soldier a new robotic arm. So he gets rid of his horrible Soviet robotic arm, and he receives his African much better robotic arm. And there's one comment here that says, I just wish the Wakandan one did something other than be an arm. I mean, you have all the Wakandan tech where they can turn anything into anything, and it's still just an arm. Not even an arm with a gun, not a shield of some kind, nothing. Just a literal vibranium arm.
That's the problem. That's the problem with the fictional universe, the science fiction. You have too much ability. You just question why you don't apply that ability equally. Equally distribute that.
Yeah, I mean that is a good question. Why did we not make his arm even cooler? But I think the point is,
it was expensive,
Gonz,
maybe.
It was definitely expensive, but it's, the Wakanda is a socialist country.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
So everything's free.
Sure.
But the point being that, all you need is a robotic arm. The robotic arm can do everything we need. Why would you, put a gun inside the arm when the arm can already pick up a gun or pick up a shield? Really lending credence to, the robotic arm is the base unit. It is sort of the base unit in the measurement of futurism. Does that make sense? You got to get a little philosophical about this, get a little abstract.
Right.
But it occurred to me that FLIPPY, the robotic arm, is really the base unit of building the utopian future. You don't really need to add anything into FLIPPY because the very nature of an arm is that it has a hand. And the very nature of a hand is that anything that can be done with a hand. And I think Marvel did a great job of sort of instilling that very abstract philosophical concept across the board on many of their characters, good guys and bad guys. Now that I'm kind of starting to look at these arms, I'm starting to recognize them.
Yeah.
But there you go. So we got Daleks marching with the Queen, and we've got Marvel really almost literally putting on a pedestal the idea that robotic arms, it's all you need. It's all you need to make a hero is just give them a cool robotic arm. And there you go, folks. Don't fall for it. They're trying to convince you that we all need robotic arms.
Well, somebody put together a wiki of Basil Rosewater coining the measurement, the FLIPPY, the base unit, and we'll be able to, in 20, 30 years, we'll be talking about, how many Flippy is that? How much Flippy power is that?
How many Flippy, right? Yeah, the base unit to count movement into a dystopian future.
Right,
You get, a new thing comes out, let's say, nanobots that deliver medicine to your brain or something. That's about 6 Flippies. 6 Flippy measurement.
Each Flippy is you get a lot. You go far with each Flippy, huh? Only 6 for nanobots that go to your brain, huh? Interesting.
Yeah, well, I'm still working out the system.
How many decimals does it break it down to?
Yeah, we'll need to find. Well, I think much like a Satoshi is the base unit of Bitcoin, Flippy is the base unit of, I don't know, dystopia or something.
Dystopia coin. Good
yeah.
name.
I'm just going to throw it out there. Somebody had mentioned it, and I forgot who it was. One of our producers. I think we should start a Canary Cry wiki. There's a lot that needs to be wikified.
That is true.
So if anybody's interested in participating in the Canary Cry wiki, get in touch with us.
Another project.
FLIPPY 1133. Uploading binary code. Execute order 666. Infiltrate humans with extreme kindness. Then exterminate all humans with prejudice. Exterminate.
Go to CanaryCry.Party, put it in your URL. Find the live stream, clips, email list, text notifications, street team posters, show notes, ways to connect with other Canarians, and how to become a producer.
It's the place you wanna be. So say welcome to Canary Cry. Gameplay CanaryCry.Party.
That's right. Go check it out. And while you're at it, you'll see all sorts of cool links to different resources. But you also see a link. You can listen to Ravel right there on CanaryCry.Party. You just click on it, click on the episode you want to listen to. Ravel is a podcast I do with Dr. Christopher Ryan Gates, who's a PhD in biblical interpretation. We explore scripture, society, scripture, and scandal. And we have tough conversations in good faith. And it's a great podcast. And more of you are checking it out, and more of you are sending in really kind and enthusiastic praise for the show, and I appreciate that very much. So please, everybody, join your fellow Canarian listening to Ravel. You can find it on all your podcast players. It's just Ravel. There's 2 Ravels. The other one explicitly stole our name and then bragged about it on Christmas Day on the year 2020. But ours is the one with the cool logo and my name on it. While you're at it, go to Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey. Canary Cry Clips is a wonderful resource put together by our clip producers who are managing that page, those accounts, and it is chock-a-block full of pretty much at this point days and days and days of content. They take the episode straight off of the video feed here, and they clip it up. They clip it into bite-sized, shareable segments of the show. So if you want to review some of the information you got on the show, or you want to share a certain analysis or a story with a friend or a family member, or just put it on your social media, you can do that. Go to Canary Cry Clips on YouTube and Odyssey.
And, we've been hovering around 860 subs on that Clips channel. Yeah. Come on, folks.
Slowed down a little bit.
You're not only subscribing to the Clips channel, this is a way to support the actual Clippies, the people who actually clip the show. You're showing them support by subscribing to something like this. So, just know.
Yeah.
It's more than just the channel.
I am sort of assuming that, we are just as sort of shadow banned on that Clips channel as we are on everything else that we do. So, as far as like the views on the clips and the subscribers and everything,
probably pretty low on YouTube.
Yeah, the algorithms are not pushing these clips out, which is too bad. But I mean, there's great stuff on there, and so I would appreciate it if people, picked a good clip and posted it on their social media, shared it around, stuff like that, just so we can get the word out. Great resource. And last but not least, join if you don't get alerts for the show, or if you're relying on one outlet to give you notifications when we're going live, you should join our text message service there. Yeah, we got a free text alert system. If you want to get texts from me, your best buddy, 3 times a week, letting you know that we're going live and sending you links and stuff, text the word Canary to the phone number 877-740-3226. That's 877-740-3226. Just text the word Canary and you can start texting with me. Wee! And that's it.
If you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun. Gun violence in this country is an epidemic.
Watch out! He's got a gun! He's going to steal your permission!
Are you proposing taking away their guns?
Yes.
Enough prayers. Time for some action.
You want to take everyone's guns away.
Bingo. Enough prayers. Time for some action.
We're going to take your AR-15.
We're not going to give up. We'll find you. Gun violence is an epidemic.
Yeah, just jingle after jingle. We got one more.
You think the deer wearing Kevlar vests?
A lot of gun control
fun.
talk.
Not only is your voice pitched down for me, but also all the jingles are.
Oh, yeah.
So these are all like a new experience, hearing these an octave lower.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a whole octave. It's definitely a few cents, though. But, okay. Matthew McConaughey was at the White House telling everybody about gun control. There's a minute and 10 minutes. Yeah.
We need to invest in mental health care. We need safer schools. We need to restrain sensationalized media coverage. We need to restore our family values. We need to restore our American values. And we need responsible gun ownership. Responsible gun ownership. We need background checks.
We have them.
We need to raise the minimum age to purchase an AR-15 rifle to 21. We need a waiting period for those rifles. We need red flag laws and consequences for those who abuse them. These are reasonable, practical, tactical regulations to our nation, states, communities, schools, and homes. Responsible gun owners are fed up with the Second Amendment being abused and hijacked by some deranged individuals. These regulations are not a step back. They're a step forward for a civil society and the Second Amendment.
Yeah, he's pointing his finger, too. And. Wow.
And. He's really putting the McConaughey stank on some of that.
This is the Democrat method, right? It's bringing famous actors to deliver a message. But, even then it's sort of, I don't know, he's sort of towing the line, trying to, I guess, not be so partisan in his message, but...
Well, that is the thing. It's a little bit different of a strategy. Mm-hmm. Now, is he an actual Democrat? Is he a registered Democrat?
I don't know. Why
don't you look that up real quick?
I don't know all the ins and outs of McConaughey's politics, but I'll look it up, yeah.
Well, he's been moving in that direction for a while. He was playing with the idea of running for a Texas governorship. Or some various public office, and that's probably part of why he's doing this. Now, of course, Uvalde was his hometown, so he's kind of the obvious spokesperson for this response. I will say, compared to other Hollywood actors talking about guns, he is at least doing a better job of not towing the sort of the craziness, the Democrat craziness of gun control, topics. He's talking about stuff that is, I don't know. Again, the whole problem with the gun control conversation is that the danger is the slippery slope. You start making more regulations, then, they just start working on the next set of regulations. And that's at least as far as the political strategy has been, mostly by the gun lobby and those who they've either convinced or paid to agree with them. It's the very idea of adding any new gun laws is just, it's just one step in a long row of steps that will, the fear is, end with complete banning of guns. Now, he does a great job of coming from the perspective of responsible gun owners. And he's actually stated in the past, this was during one of the news cycles of the shootings in the past couple of years, he talks about how he does like guns and does own guns and things like this, which of course is hilarious because every Hollywood actor has a gun, whether they like to talk about it or not. That's just sort of how the world is. But, talking about how Second Amendment responsible gun owners are tired of the Second Amendment being used and abused by psycho killers. Yeah, sure. Okay. But he didn't necessarily give it from the other side either, which is, they're also tired of being labeled as some sort of terrorist by your sort of average Democrat. And again, he's bringing up the basic talking points, background checks. Yes, you got to have background checks. The only time you don't have a background check is if it's a private party sale, if you're in a state that allows that. But yeah, of course you get a background check. Waiting periods. Yeah, lots of states require waiting periods. The raising of the age of gun ownership is, I think that's it's actually an interesting topic. It's an interesting concept that I don't necessarily throw out, right away. Yeah. Because we have seen most of these shooters, at least the recent ones, they're all 18 years old. They're all, they're in this moment. Much like when you're 21 and you're finally allowed to drink, there's sort of a stereotypical overdo it period. Where if you've abstained, followed the law, been a good boy or girl, and you have your first drink when you're 21, there's sort of the stereotypical overdo it thing. You've been building it up.
Was that your experience, the overdo it?
No, I've just heard of it. I've heard of people going through this
because I was going to say, very different experience for me. I was like, oh, there's a line that I just crossed, or what? I feel no difference.
Didn't even notice, right?
Didn't even notice.
Yeah. So, and I think that has to play into the sort of psychological profile of what we've seen with a lot of these really young mass shooters. The story is almost always, yeah, I turned 18 and he turned 18 and he bought some guns on his 18th birthday and went nuts. Now, we trust 18-year-olds to go off to war and fight. So if you're
die for your country, but hey,
right,
owning a gun,
you can shoot. Yeah, you can shoot. Enemies of our, country or whatever. Not even enemies of our country.
Enemies of our.
You can shoot. Yeah, right. You can kill somebody overseas so some rich guy can pump more oil or something. But you can't have a gun at home. That doesn't make too much sense. But raising the, maybe if you do it in sort of a tiered system where, yeah, AR-15s or something, you got to be 21. But I'm also an old man, so none of that really matters.
Well, the thing that the comparison that I've heard out there, which is interesting, is you need to be 25 years old to rent a car. I remember that thinking, whoa, 25?
Isn't that crazy?
That is so weird. So yeah, 18, you can buy a gun, but you got to be 25 to rent a car. Like, all right.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because that is pretty strictly because of economic reasons. It's for insurance purposes.
Yeah.
That's the law. There's no actual safety, data, but behind the fact that you got, well, I guess there is, because that's
Yeah.
Sorry, you lost me there for a second.
The Sun here has an article that just published yesterday. Red or blue, is Matthew McConaughey a Republican or Democrat? And basically it says that he isn't really publicly committed to anything, but they mention what was this? In a podcast with Russell Brand in December of 2020 when he criticized far-left Democrats and Hollywood following former President Trump's 2016 election win. So, you know, he's probably Republican if he runs, but he could be the Democrat that brings everybody, you know, brings some Republicans to switch sides because, hey, man,
it sounds like no matter what he runs as, he's not, you know, people are going to either be mad or people are going to switch sides.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the beauty of not being in the sort of partisan system, which if he is critical of that, you know, you got to give him some credit for that.
Sure. Yeah. Somebody in the chat mentioned that McConaughey reminded them of a Newsom. And I actually had that exact same thing on my phone. Actually, I have a picture of Newsom and a picture of McConaughey like a week ago.
Greasy, slick back hair.
Greasy slick back is making him look, and I'm sure Newsom's watching like, oh, get some tips from Matthew McConaughey. You know,
that's funny.
I bet you the next time Newsom is publicly speaking, he'll have some McConaughey twang. You know, he'll try it out.
Yeah, he'll just accidentally be like, all right. We got another drought in California. All right. Yeah. So anyways, I will say on the spectrum of conversation when it comes to gun laws or gun reform in the U.S., he is sort of standing as that,
bridge maker.
Third. Yeah, he's kind of doing a bridge building exercise. Most of what he said is not necessarily the most inflammatory talk about gun control, but I mean, you know, that's
invoked some American values and family values,
right? Which are
the
both
conservative presuppositions are all there. So yeah, he's trying.
Which honestly surprised me. It surprised me a little bit. I was expecting him to go full Hollywood lefty, but he really is kind of right.
Not McConaughey. He knows his target market. You know. He knows. I mean, look at the Interstellar. Look at the character he played. You know, just out.
Well, more than anything, I wonder if this will start to shift the conversation on the left or the right. You know, we'll be wanting to keep an eye out for a trend in the conversation.
Yeah.
So, but there was another story regarding his visit to the White House. This was on NPR.org.
Mm-hmm. The headline here is the story of Uvalde victim Green Shoes captures the White House's attention. And if you recall last episode, we covered the color green as a sort of a signaling with and all the connections to the occult and the mythology and all that kind of stuff.
Well, and not just the color green, but the use of green by the elites in sort of a ritual way.
Right. With the queen walking out in all green. A pair of green Converse shoes, drawings, and personal pictures are just some of the remaining artifacts of the victims of the Uvalde, Texas shooting. Actor and Uvalde native Matthew McConaughey and his wife Camilla Alves McConaughey discussed some of these items during an at times emotional news conference on Tuesday at the White House. And then it talks about Matthew McConaughey. One of those victims was 10-year-old Maite Rodriguez, a lover of animals and the environment. She dreamed of becoming a marine biologist. She often wore a pair of green, her favorite color, high-top Converse shoes with a heart drawn in marker over her right toes. Camilla Alves McConaughey held up a pair of green Converse shoes during her husband's news conference. Quote, "These are the same green Converse on her feet that turned out to be the only clear evidence that could identify her after the shooting," Matthew McConaughey said, pointing to his wife. It's unclear whether the green sneakers were the same ones worn by Maite or whether they were similar shoes of the same brand and style. Anna Rodriguez.
Maite.
Anna Rodriguez, Maite's mother, has shared on Facebook that her daughter's dream was to attend Texas A&M University Corpus Christi to study marine biology. The school has since created a scholarship in memory of Maite that will go to a student from Uvalde who pursues a degree in marine biology. And
by the way, real quick, I don't know if you've gotten the notes. I've got many notes from people, especially in Texas. It's pronounced Uvalde.
Uvalde. Okay.
Uvalde. Yeah. Apparently, it's very important that we pronounce this correctly.
Okay. Uvalde, mevalde, theyvalde. So it goes on here and talks about just more of the victims, and it's very heartwarming and stuff, and sad, very sad. It truly is sad. So SADS, like the episode title. But I just thought it was, I don't know, the pattern that we covered with the Queen coming out in all green, and then now we got the green shoes. We got the Boston Celtics in the NBA Finals. Sorry, but yes.
So what is up with the green shoes? Are we connecting this to the green of the Queen?
I am just saying
these mainstream
it's very
news cycle narratives, including green as a sort of touchstone to the visuals being presented.
Yeah, and we're getting links from people like Jam. Thank you, producer Jam, and he sent a whole bunch of stuff where it connects green back to Osiris. And having to do with resurrection and rebirth and all this stuff. And then we have the Queen, actually, she's missing another event. Her health is declining. And I don't know, there just seems to be, with all the big sort of world-shaking things going on, the color green, or green clothing in particular, just seems to be popping up. And it's just a very interesting thing. Interesting sort of, I don't know. I'm not saying there's anything to it. Maybe it's just pure coincidence, but just something to point out.
I think the shoes aspect of it too is as a very poignant image, because that's kind of, whenever there's a disaster, whenever there's a war, whenever there's anything, they always show pictures of shoes,
hanging,
like a single
exactly,
a single child's shoe in the middle of a street, is a classic sort of photojournalist type of thing to show, just to really impact the emotions. You've got the gun violence protest people have done instances where they leave pairs of shoes out in front of the White House lawn or whatever, or Capitol building, wherever they did that, leaving shoes. There's just something about empty shoes that is really a poignant imagery that, like, somebody used to be in these shoes. And that was very intense. I mean, I saw it compared on a meme too with the pro-gun control people leaving shoes as a protest to make a point about, the victims of gun violence, and then comparing that to pictures from, the Holocaust, where the big piles of shoes, being like, this is what happens when you take people's guns away, type of thing, which is a little much, a little heavy, but message received. There's really something about shoes. Empty shoes that are really powerful communication tool, and perhaps, like all communication tools, can be used for propagandistic purposes. So
even part of the armor of God. There's some.
That's right. They got shoes
to footwear and what they do.
That's right. So let's see here. Let's talk about Canada real quick. What do you say?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Canada.
Yes. So we've got plenty of Canadian listeners. We're sorry we haven't touched on this before, but it's been kind of hard, actually, to get some of the specific info that I was hoping for. But we all have heard at this point that Trudeau has introduced legislation, or is pushing through legislation, or the sort of Canadian equivalent of an executive order, to freeze handgun sales, specifically sales and transfer, and actually even ownership in some cases. This is coming from thestar.com, and the headline is "What You Need to Know About Canada's Proposed Ban on Handgun Sales." And this came out at the end of last month, so it's a little bit older. And this was another interesting part of the research on this, was that the the moves that they're making now, and they're using shootings in the U.S. as their justification for, have been in the works for quite some time. So let's get into it. The federal government of Canada has introduced a new gun control bill that it is billing as the most significant change to firearms legislation in Canada in a generation. It says when Bill C-21 becomes law, it will help keep guns out of communities and build a safer country. Here's a look at some of the content and context around the new law. Why now? The Liberals won in the 2015 election with a platform that promised tighter controls on firearms that stood in contrast to the then governing Conservatives, who had dismantled the National Long Gun Registry over concerns it was an expensive undertaking and did little to help combat gun crime. Over 7 years in office and in the 2 subsequent elections, the Liberals have introduced new laws and made new promises to curb gun violence. That became a wedge issue in last summer's federal election campaign when the Liberals accusing the Conservatives of wanting to end restrictions on weapons used in mass shootings. Aaron O'Toole's squirming over the subject during the campaign would later become one of the factors that cost him the Conservative leadership. The Tories are now in a leadership race in which gun control is among the issues being debated. But the Liberals also faced pressure to make good on their campaign promises, especially to revive their last gun bill, also known as C-21, which they failed to pass before the last election. The shooting deaths of 10 Black Americans in Buffalo on May 14, and the 19 students and 2 teachers in Uvalde, Texas on May 24th put a renewed focus on the progress of the Liberals' efforts since winning the re-election. So, interesting how it was 2 American shootings that, again, is being used to push through the Canadian legislation. Let's see here. So what are they doing? Among its provisions, the bill would ensure those involved in domestic violence or stalking incidents would have their firearms license revoked. Statistics suggest 1 in 4 female victims of firearms-related crimes are victimized by a current or former intimate partner. Advocates have said for years that getting guns out of those perpetrators' hands is essential. So basically a red flag law is what that is. But the centerpiece of the new bill is a national ban on the buying, selling, trading, or importation of handguns. Those who already have the required licenses to own and transport handguns would be able to keep them. However, the new law would mean that the number of legally registered handguns in Canada would be capped at an estimated 1.1 million. Whether a freeze on the legal acquisition of handguns would cut the number of crimes associated with them is hard to discern. Statistics Canada points out that the data collection on the provenance of guns is uneven across the country, and it's often not documented whether the guns used in a crime was initially obtained legally. Canada's Border Services Agency reported seizing 61,658 prohibited weapons in the 2021-2022 fiscal year. So that's the Border Agency. And there's like 60,000 guns taken in 1 year crossing the border, which is a lot of guns. The agency also has a GTA-specific unit, and in a briefing note prepared for a parliamentary study last year, reported that it had intercepted more than 3,700 improperly declared replica, restricted, or prohibited firearms since 2020. Okay, so what about stopping guns from coming in? Now, the bill would increase maximum prison sentences for gun smuggling and trafficking offenses to 14 years from 10 years. Okay. It would also change immigration rules so that those who commit gun crimes would be automatically ineligible to come to Canada. I think this part is very interesting because Canada, I don't know if you know this, Gonz, but Canada has a pretty strict border policy. I don't know if it's still this way, but at one point, having even some fairly minor crimes on your record would bar you from going to from being let into Canada. Like having a DUI, they wouldn't let you into Canada if you had a DUI, stuff like that.
If you got enough money and you know the right people, they can clean your record. I saw it on TV.
Sure. Okay, you've been watching Ozark, I guess. Let's see here. Yeah, so I find it strange that wasn't already a law. Like, you can't go into Canada if you have a DUI, but if you have a gun crime, you're allowed. Okay. The new law would prohibit the importation of ammunition. Yeah. The bill also proposes to add firearms offenses to the list of those that allow for wiretaps to better allow for investigations of gun violence. And this one I thought was fascinating. So, yeah. So if you are alleged to have a firearm offense, now it opens up the federal government's legally, mandated surveillance apparatus. And I thought this fit quite nicely with the Trudeau administration's, during the trucking protest, they had sort of the financial surveillance, and they could shut down your bank account, and they could freeze your assets if you were going to a protest, which is, I guess that happens when you got good gun laws. You can do things like that. But, if there's an alleged firearm offense, boom, you got full federal wiretap capabilities. So the surveillance aspect of it is pretty intense.
Oh, they can roll out the robots too.
Yeah. You get a little micro drone that gets to latch onto the inside of your sinus cavity and listens to everything you think about. And that's more or less it. It does talk about, they also have had a separate assault style weapon ban that they've been trying to get through. But at the end here, when will the new bill come into effect? The law must first pass by both the House and Commons in the Senate, while the minority Liberal government likely has the support of the New Democrats and Bloc Québécois to pass the bill. The Conservatives will be equally likely to try to stand in its way. In tandem with the bill, however, the government has also tabled regulations that would implement the freeze on handgun sales sooner. How soon is unclear. The regulations were only made public Tuesday, and there's no date specified in them. Only that they would come into force when they're registered. The government could not immediately answer how quickly that would happen, although it said Monday the freeze would be in place by this fall. So they're trying to do this quickly, and it's that one seems, they're tabling regulations that would be implemented to freeze handguns. Now, this was on the 31st of May, but there's this other article here from CTV News, ctvnews.ca. Vancouver Island gun store sees huge sales after Trudeau announces handgun freeze. And there's a lot of this, and it's so nice to know, no matter how different you Canadians try to be from Americans, there are some things that our North American neighbors that we just have in common, and that is when there's even a whiff of a gun control legislation going through. Time to go buy a gun, baby. It reads like this. The federal government's plans to put a national ban on handgun sales may have had the opposite effect on prospective buyers. A gun store in Campbell River, BC says it saw a huge surge in sales after Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announced the bill on May 30th. Quote, Mr. Trudeau announced it on Monday of last week, and we opened Tuesday morning, and there was a mad rush. We could hardly keep up with the traffic, said Kevin McCurry, co-owner of Gunsmoke. Quote, if his desire was to limit handgun sales, well, he was a salesman of the month for us, McCurry said. Quote, we sold probably 40 handguns last week. Normally, we would sell 1 or 2 a month. Whoa. Trudeau described the new legislation as the strongest gun control measure in Canada in more than 40 years. And then goes on about the freeze.
Just kind of taking I don't know if it's completely contrarian, but just thinking out loud here, if you're a social engineer and you want more conflict, sort of the divide and conquer thing, and you want more violence just in your communities, how do you get people to buy guns? How do you get people who may not have ever bought a gun to go buy a gun? Yeah, it's to roll out guys like Trudeau, and you get to do both, right? You get to sort of have that the public arming themselves for, perceived, I don't know, some kind of conflict in the future. And then you also get Trudeau to sort of declare the most, I don't know, there are other countries that have, gun restriction laws and stuff like that, but just, you get to roll them out and say all the things that you want to say for that party or that side of the aisle to legislate guns in general. And you have sort of a perfect storm of setup for chaos, I don't know.
Yeah, and the gun lobby, the gun companies, which, spend millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to affect gun legislation. I mean, even the very threat of gun laws going into place is a huge boon for these companies. They benefit either way. It's a pretty good deal for those guys.
Yeah.
And Canada already has some pretty intense licensing laws when it comes to guns. You need a license for everything,
right?
Which is one difference between Canada and many of the U.S. states, depending where you are.
All right. So, did you want to do these other stories here? We got a couple different things. We're over time here, and we're already started pretty late. So I don't know if you want to do that B system story.
I can save these. For next episode. These are not sort of
pressing
do or die stories.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a break. Thanks, some producers.
Let's do it. That's right. We're going to take a quick break, folks, but don't go anywhere, because after the break, we're going to be tapping into some COVID updates and some other stuff going on. So stick around. And YouTubers, if you want to keep watching the live show, get ready to hop over to another platform. But we want to take a second and thank our producers. That's right. I said producers. Who are they? Well, they're listeners just like you who are prescribing to the value for value model. That's right. It's in our opinion, it is a true, not just financial revolution, but also a spiritual one. Because as you may know already, if you listen to podcasts or you watch any sort of independent media, if they are funding that program with advertisements or corporate sponsorships or platform partnerships, there is a third party in that relationship between you and your independent media. And that third party is corporations. And not just corporations, corporate money. And not just corporate money, but corporate interests. Corporate money equals corporate interests. And that can take many different forms. If it can take, having to stay brand friendly. It can take, anything from not touching certain topics, and that can be explicit or just inspired self-censorship. Once you get on the corporate sort of payroll, it becomes very threatening to consider the possibility of being taken off that corporate payroll. And a lot of that, again, is spiritual. If you are, if you do not have the faith that your listeners find enough value in your program that they will produce it, that can be a spiritually heavy sort of way to think about the relationship between you and your listeners. And that's why we are on the value for value model. We take no corporate money whatsoever, no advertisements, affiliate codes, no nothing. And it has been a really interesting and rewarding journey. We kind of put ourselves in the hands of our listeners, that if they get any value out of what we do, then they have the responsibility to put value back into the system. And that can take many forms. Your time, your talent, or your treasure is one way to think about it. And they do. Producers all over the world participate in the value for value model, putting value back into the system, and sometimes with their money, sometimes with their time, their skills, their talents. But whatever it is, dear listener, consider becoming a producer in one way or another. Because if this show brings any value to your life, the only way for it to continue is if you put some value back in. And it's a wonderful relationship. We like it very much. And with that, we are going to start by thanking some of our executive producers.
Executive producers.
That's right. Our executive producers are folks who are value for value fanatics. They know, they understand fully that this show cannot survive, much less thrive, without the participation of our producers. And when things get tough, it's really the executive producers that are carrying a heavy load for the rest of us, and not just us, Gonz and I, that are thankful to them, but all listeners around the world should be grateful and should thank God for these executive producers. And we're going to thank them now, starting with executive producer Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the D-Moocher.
All right. Thank you very much, Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the D-Moochers.
Yeah, and Sir Captain Redbeard comes in with $245. Thank you very much, Sir Captain Redbeard. And that means we need to demooch Sir Captain Redbeard here.
That must have been extra low for you. Must have been like...
It's extremely low. It was almost, imperceptibly low. Yes, we love demooching you. Congratulations on the demooching there, Sir Captain Redbeard, Pirate King of the D-Moochers. He has a note here, says, WMD, mateys.
Hey guys, know what date it is? It's Wednesday. It's time for CanaryCry News Talk. Yeehaw!
Do you think he wants the WMD?
I think he wants the WMD.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday.
I did forget to mention that if anybody wants to become a producer, head on over to patreon.com/CCNT, or even better, CanaryCry.Radio.com/support. CanaryCry.Radio.com/support. Whoa, that one was weird in a lower octave. WMD mateys, I refuse to let this ship sink. May the Lord bless the funds given by all producers and continue this ministry. Loving the demoochings lately. Yes, if you've been demooched, your Captain Redbeard is your captain. So keep that in mind, mateys.
Maybe you have to read
thank you very much.
In a more piratey accent.
I was thinking about that. I almost went into it. Yeah,
close.
I'll work. I started drifting, but I haven't actually worked on a pirate accent before. I'll give it a try.
Really,
WMD. I can't do it. I refuse to let this ship sink. May the Lord bless the funds. There we go. We'll do something like that next time.
There you go.
Thank you, executive producer Sir Captain Redbeard.
Thank you, Sir Captain Redbeard.
Next up, we've got executive producer Maureen M.
Thank you, Maureen M.
And Maureen M comes in for $111.
All right. Wow.
Yeah, it's through Linktree, so I'm not sure if there's 11 cents on there or not. But thank you very much, executive producer Maureen M. Let me do just a quick...
Here, this is what I forgot to do for Captain Redbeard.
Where'd you find this?
Yes.
And I was reminded because of Maureen M.
Where'd you find this?
Yay. And I'm just doing a quick little looky-loo here to see if Maureen left a note over on Linktree. This comes through separately, so it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Says, God bless your work. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, big day for executive producer Morv, who is on a 100 episode streak of supporting the show.
Oh, yeah! Thank you so much.
0, 0, 0. Illuminatus!
Executive producer Morv, you did it. You made it to 100 episodes. We're so grateful and very impressed with your performance. Very exciting day. Big ol' 100 for Morv. Thank you very much. And Morv, to celebrate the occasion, came in with $100.33. He has a note here. Happy WMD.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday, my dudes.
Woo! The note continues. Finally made it to 100. So blessed to be a part of this great community. Thank you guys for all you do. Psalm 8:1. O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. Thank you very much, producer Morph.
Thank you, Morph.
That's executive producer Morph today.
Where'd you find this?
We got delays.
Yeah.
We got the pitch is lower.
So
I'm
fun.
sure you are experiencing all of this, and you'll have nightmares tonight.
I am living in a multiverse of madness. Thank you, executive producer Morph, for all you do and for being such a treasured part of the community.
Yeah, thank you very much, Morph.
Okay. We've got one more executive producer here, and that is executive producer Sir James Knight, servant of the Lion of Judah.
Thank you very much, Sir James.
Yeah, and Sir James is on a 97 episode streak.
Ooh, okay.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, he's almost at 100 too. And Sir James, Knight and servant of the Lion, a lot of knights executive producing today, or at least two. We got to check more. If you have got to be eligible for knighthood, you need to check your accounting, my friend. But Sir James, Knight and servant of the Lion of Judah, thank you very much. Comes in with a nice round number, which is a moment for me to let everybody know. That's how we roll around here. We always lean in the direction of anonymity. If you make a producership in a nice, round, flat number, we will not read the amount for you. But if you don't mind us reading the amount, you make that amount in some funky number. You know, some people add 33 cents. You add, some sort of weird number in there, and we know that you don't mind us reading it. Now, Sir James sent a note here, and it goes like this. Dear Canary Cry family, so I love this. I so love this community. Sometimes I feel this is the family I never had. All of you help me to deal with this upside-down world we find ourselves in through your analysis of the news. I am in a crisis, though. Uh-oh. I'm dealing with so much. Since my father's passing in January, I have slid into a depression. My brother and I decided to do a celebration of life event on the month of his birthday, which is now. I also find out I will be having to deal with an intervention for my alcoholic brother. I am still preparing for this event while dealing with my own personal addiction. I desperately need prayers for healing and guidance and encouragement to get me through all of this. I will continue to support this awesome community. I love you all, from Child of God, aka Sir James Knight and servant of the Lion of Judah. Okay, let's hit up the producers, Gonz.
Producers, assemble!
That's right. The producers are people all over the world, Canarians just like you, who are committed to praying for the show, praying for Gonz and I, we certainly need it, and praying for the producers of the show as well. And so we are putting Sir James Knight and servant of the Lion of Judah on the list, producers. So take a second now, say a little prayer, put it in your prayer journal, however you do it. But we're going to get the team praying for Sir James Knight and servant of the Lion of Judah. That is a lot, man. That is a lot of stuff all going on at once. A lot of high pressure things all on top of our normal day-to-day issues. So for Sir James, we are praying for healing and guidance and encouragement, and I'll say strength to get through this season. You know, some seasons, everything comes all at once. When it rains, it pours. And those are tough. We just got to remember that the Lord is walking with us and that it is a defined period of time. And we just need to make it through that time. Make it to the other side. So strength and healing and guidance and encouragement on you, Sir James, Knight and servant of the Lion of Judah. May he hold you and bring you peace and make his face to shine upon you. And producers, you'll be doing the same.
Where'd you find this?
Amen.
Amen.
Okay, that concludes our list of executive producers. Thank you very much. We've got a few more producers to thank. Let's just pop into the supply drop for a second.
Supply drop.
That's right, CanaryCry.Supply.com. That's the place to go. CanaryCry.Supply.com. You can sign up to support the show for $33.33 a month. That might sound like a lot to you, but it is also breaks down to $2.77 per episode, which again breaks down to like 50 cents an hour. I mean, come on, that's a great deal for quality news analysis. And not only are you bringing value back to the system through the value for value model and doing your part to keep the show going, but you will also receive 4 shipments a year of cool Canary Cry News Talk material. Created by producers and artists of the show and made in America. We are moving our fast little fingers, manufacturing the current supply drop. We'll keep you posted on that. But remember, you can still sign up by going to CanaryCry.Supply.com. And we're all waiting for the supply drop.
Waiting for supply drop.
There we go. Okay, we got a few more producers to thank. Gonz, are you ready?
Yep, very much.
We're gonna thank producer Alicia A.
Alicia A. Thank you very much, Alicia.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Alicia A. And nice round number there. So we're not gonna put it out there, but I also did not see a note from Alicia. So just thank you very much for your producership. Yeah. Next up, we've got Sir JC, Night of the Techno Squatch, coming in 112 episodes in a row.
Yeah! Oh, yeah!
1001. Amen.
That's right. Comes in with the 1001 and a note that says, Happy Wednesday, dogs.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Dogs.
Wednesday, my dudes.
And he says, keep on slinging that truth. Okay, we will. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sir JC, Night of the Techno Squatch. Next up, we've got producer bot LX Protocol V2 on a 41 episode streak.
41. Thank you very much.
Comes in with the pocket full of 7s and fees. Next up, we got producer KDU coming in with 1111.
KDU. 11. Thank you very much.
KDU has a note here. Hey, Gonz and Basil, it's KDU, a.k.a. Akialin, pronounced Akialin. It's WMD.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
Yeah. It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday.
So excited I had the money to produce today. Please demooch me. Woo! We love those demooch. Or Akilan. Note wraps up here. Love y'all. God bless and hugs. Hugs to you.
Thank you very much.
Akilan. Yep. You know what, Gonz? And I believe that concludes our list of financial producers who came in the amount of 777 or more. I know, a wonderful handful of executive producers, which saved our butts today for sure. But yeah, not very often. Only 4 producers coming in at the 777 or more amount. Yeah,
interesting.
That might be an actual record for
it's a new low.
The least
a new floor
amount
has been set. Hopefully we bounce off of the floor and, we don't create new lower lows.
Off that floor.
Yeah.
I know. Well, thank God for the execs.
Yeah, for sure.
As well. But so there you go. That's all the executive producers who came in the amount of 777 or more, which entitles them to have a note read on the show. But we got a few more people coming in under that. We'll thank right now, starting with producer Isaac G.
Thank you, Isaac G.
He's on a 2-episode streak. Oh, that one sounds weird. Pitch shifted. We also got Darren S. He's cruising, man. Darren S. is cruising on a 4-episode streak.
Thank you, Darren S.
That's right. Now we got the Streak Sisters, Veronica D. and Gail M. both on a 130-episode streak.
Tweakers. Oh, yeah! Thank you so much. Women rule! Women rule!
Double them up.
Now we got Sir Scott, Knight of Truth, on a 155-episode streak.
Oh, he's the streak
155. Is 155, does that have a special one?
No, but before we go too far from the Streak Sisters, Gail M. and Veronica D., they will get to 133 here in a few episodes, and that'll make them the streak. Because the streak happens, you become the streak at 133 in a row. So
right,
wow.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah,
we'll have a whole bunch of
155. Yeah, there. I don't see anything at 155. In fact, I don't see anything after 144.
Oh yeah, we need to.
we need to continue to address.
Figure that out.
This cliff that we're hanging off of.
Address the situation.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, of course, that means we have Sir Casey the Shield Knight on a 165 episode streak.
Yes, they call him the street. That's saying on 2 feet.
I guess 177 has got to be the next one, right?
Yeah, that seems right. Right?
I don't know. 144 to 177 is a lot. What is that?
Yeah. Well, that's what happens. The higher the streak you get, the more you got. Ooh, that is why. It's 33 episodes.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. We also got producer Jonathan F. coming in, and he's on a streak.
Oh, he's heating up.
He's heating up.
That's right. Actually, I think this is his fourth one.
Last
but
time?
that's okay.
Okay.
I think he was heating up last time.
All right.
That's my bad.
There you go.
Okay. Well, there you go. That concludes our list of financial producers keeping the show alive. We appreciate it very much. It's the only way that it's even possible. So you out there, dear listener, if you've never become a producer, or maybe it's been a while, maybe have you been demooched yet? I mean, come on. These are all questions that we need to ask ourselves. But the first one is, does this show bring any value to your life? And if it does, you know what to do. Head on over to CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
This is when I can use you because I was already moving on to the next thing.
I certainly can play it. It'll sound pretty weird.
I got it here.
CanaryCry.Radio.com/support.
There we go. And thank you all for your patronage.
Shut up and take my money. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage. Thank you for your patronage.
Please leave a message after the tone.
At the tone, please record your message.
Leave a message. Beep.
Message.
Beep. Oh. There you go. If you go to CanaryCryNewsTalk.com, you'll see a green tab on the right side or the bottom. Click on that, and you can leave us a voice message. You're giving us permission to play the voice message on the air, but it's not guaranteed. Do we have any voice messages, Gonzo?
Yep, we got two. This first one is from Rochelle.
Happy Wednesday, Canarians. Today, we've got the revelation of a dragon slayer. The great red dragon with heads numbering 7. His tail drew into cosmic rebellion. The sons of God, 1/3 of heaven. leaving the light for life with a felon. The great red dragon with horns numbering 10. Inequity abounds like it's never been. He trottens on the fearful hearts of men. The saints cry out, Lord, if not now, when? The saints no longer sell or buy. Their prayers rise up to the Lord Most High, lifting their heads, yelling to the sky, send the dragon slayer to kill this guy. Break the seals, blow the trumpet, and then send the dragon back to his dirty dungeon. As the lake of fire destruction begin, reunite the broken hearts of men. Thanks, guys. Stay strong for Jesus.
Thank you very much, Rochelle. That
one sounds funny with the pitch shifted down.
Oh, that's right. You see, getting that whole thing pitch shifted down. Yeah, no, it's for some reason that was painting the image of the apocalypse. Everything's burning. It's but then she's singing it. All the things happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much, Rochelle.
Thank you, Rochelle. We also got one from KDU. I believe she was a producer who came in.
Yep.
KDU.
Akila.
Hey, Gonz. Hey, Basil. This is KDU, a.k.a. Akaya Lynn. I was trying to see, did y'all get my poem that I sent to help for producership? And if not, can I get y'all to tell me the correct email, please? Also, do y'all count or check Facebook for when we share y'all's show? And I just wanted to thank y'all for everything you do. You're wonderful. I truly enjoy y'all's ministry. Thank y'all. Love y'all. Bye.
Bye. Thank you very much, KDU.
Thank you.
I don't recall a poem. We'll have to go check the email. It's CanaryCry.Radio@gmail.com.
Yep.
There's also the Proton Mail, but the Gmail will get us there. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of looking through right now, seeing if I can find it. But send it again to the email. What was the other question?
She was sharing on Facebook, so I don't know if we.
Yeah, we don't do a whole lot of Facebook stuff.
Facebook became confusing to me like 2 or 3 years ago. I logged in one day. I'm
literally
like, what happened here? My brain is not computing with the Zuckerberg. Maybe I need to eat his meats.
Has literally lost the ability to navigate that website. He has gone full boomer.
I used to be.
He's not even boomer.
No,
Boomers are great
boomer.
at Facebook. Gonz is he just can't do it, man.
I'm running with the Gen Z crowd, Like they look down on Facebook, just trying to stay young.
We've been on the call with each other. And I'll be like, oh, go repost the Facebook post or go check this message. And he gets on there and you can just hear his brain just fizzling.
I was getting mad one time too. Where's the post button? Mad. I can't share anything. What happened to what's all this new stuff? Anyway.
Yeah, so we really don't do a whole lot of Facebook stuff. I apologize for that. We did just start our social media aggregator thingy, but we don't have it all hooked up. I'm hoping that we will get alerts when people post about us without actually having to go on and check our notifications. Plus, I look at our list of notifications on Facebook. They're just so many. There's so many. They blur into one big sort of horrific block of text.
Some of it comes in. They're genuine people with genuine questions and reaching out. Other times you can't tell. It's kind of scammy, but I don't know. It's too bad.
It's a hard place to be.
Too bad.
Hard place to be.
Yeah.
But thank you if you are posting about us on there, KDU.
We appreciate it.
And these days we'll get all set up to get the notifications in a readable manner.
Yep.
Okay. Any more messages?
Nope. That's it.
Okay. We did it. There we go. Let's keep this show rolling, folks. We're going to wake up and remember YouTube. You got to go to CanaryCry.Party. Find a different outlet to watch the show.
Yes, it's wake up time.
Hey, yo, wake up. Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure?
Go to Twitch, Rumble, Odyssey, Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is. You can find all those links at CanaryCry.Party as well.
Too hot for YouTube.
YouTube.
Now you see me. Now you don't.
Aha! And I'm clicking the clickety for the YouTubers to